This prison officer said I cut one of his ears off and they couldn't find it. Of course they couldn't, because I put it down the toilet, flushed the chain, and it's floating somewhere off the Isle of Wight.
In 2011, we sat down with Frankie Fraser to find out the truth about his life of crime.
I wasn't shy, I'd use anything. Hammer, knife, brick, you name it, I'd use it.
Running out, speed.
MAD Frankie Fraser, one of the most feared and respected London crime lords. A notorious torturer and hitman who worked as an enforcer for London's most feared gang leaders. Declared insane twice, he spent 42 years behind bars.
The guy who said I pulled his teeth out, he approached Eva, best pal I've ever had, you know, not only my sister, wonderful pal, said, if you give me so much money, Eva, I'll tell the truth. So Eva took him to a solicitor, he made a statement saying he told the police a pack of lies, and they then dropped him home. Elby Woods was Eva's chauffeur, they then dropped him home. He went straight to the police and said they threatened him. And the solicitor just told the truth. He said, no, she just introduced him and took no further part in the conversation. When I was doing that 20 years, wouldn't I loved it if I could have been in my cell going, oh, what a good job you made of that back molar. It wasn't true though, unfortunately. My poor sister got 3 years because she was nicked for conspiring to pervert the course of justice. She had been a terrific shoplifter. Then she got married, got caught, went to prison for shoplifting, and that, when she then went dead straight. I'll never forgive her. I didn't have to buy my own shirts. Oh, wonderful. I'll never forgive Hitler for surrendering. Well, it was such a wonderful time in the war. Well, everything was rationed and you could get whatever you wanted and sell it on and all over the country and everything. Of course, once the war was over, a lot of them things that were rationed wasn't then. And things were evening out then a bit, yeah. They were wonderful days of war. Well, my sister Eva, she knew the Richardsons through her husband. She couldn't speak highly enough of them, what terrific guys they were. And that's how I come to meet them. Well, they're in the scrap metal business and car business and everything. You name it, they were in it. They'd have a go at anything. You couldn't wish to meet two more hard-working guys. They were really good. Not all honest, but nowhere near that people think, or as the police or the authorities made them out to be. No, nowhere near that. They were two hard-working guys. Well, out of the two, I liked Eddie better, yes. But nothing, because I liked him better, nothing to do that Charlie wasn't any good or anything. It's just that I got on with Eddie better than I got on with Charlie. It's simple as that. Couldn't meet two nicer guys. Well, you set up a business just as a swindling business. Make no doubt about that. And you do all the right things to make it look really good. And then when the swindling was going very well, everyone was happy. And you just disappeared, yeah. It was wonderful days. No, strangely enough, they didn't have to, because they were very hard-working guys, and they started up legitimate businesses. They didn't have to go into any long firms or anything. Charlie was exceptionally good, but I think in the long run, Eddie would be more solid as a businessman than Charlie, yeah. It's a very difficult thing, because they were both very bright. They're two very good businessmen. It's hard to tell who was the best out of the two of them. I was with Eddie, and Charlie was mostly, then his business was all over the world. It wasn't hardly in England very long at a time. So I was with Eddie, working very hard on that. So I didn't really know too much about Charlie. It was as simple as that. We hardly ever see him. He was always all over the world. Out in South Africa, wasn't he? In the mine there and that. Like a lot of brothers. They could fall out now and again and daft little things, but 2 or 3 days later they'd be back together again. And they were very close brothers. Well, I knew the West End very well. As a boy, when I was just left school, I used to work for Boots the Chemist in Piccadilly Circus and Oddham's Press on a bike. So I used to go to all the clubs delivering medicine or picking things up and that. And that's how I got to know the West End very well. And then went into it full time. Well, you knew exactly them that wasn't doing very good. You just pumped money into it and got a share in it and then went all the way. Well, that was down to Billy Hill. He could see I was doing not bad. He said, go in for the machines, Frank. I've got someone who can get you all of them and everything. And that's how I come to go in them. And they were very good. Especially then, you know, not long after the war and all that. It was good. Atlantic Machines, we had that was the name of our company, Atlantic Machines. Oh, of course there was, yeah, but and clubs were happy to have our machines in, our one-armed bandits, because they knew if anybody started mucking about with our machines, then we'd soon be round there to, you know, see it didn't happen again or anything like that. We were really 2 hard-working, straight guys. As simple as that, yeah. We're talking about 200 or 300, say, more. Yeah, making very good money, yeah. And shows you, when I was doing that 20 years, then my wife got the money every month or every week, all the way through. And I'd done all the 20, remember. Lost all my remission, everything. She got her money all the time, yeah, from the machines. I'd just come out of prison, and my sister told me what terrific guys they were, where they'd helped her husband get a job or something, and she introduced me to them. They used to fetch my sister to visit me in prisons all over the country. And she couldn't speak highly enough of them, what absolute gentlemen they were, and I liked them, yeah. So you've got to remember I was 10 years or more older than them. And I'd drink with their father, this is during the war, and pubs then used to shut at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and open about 6 or 7 in the evening. Well, when the pubs shut at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you'd normally go to an afternoon club or go for something to eat. And sometimes I'll go home with their father, Reggie and Ronnie's dad, and have a meal. And they were back from evacuation. And they used to call me Uncle Frank. Years later, we had a good laugh about it. Uncle Frank? We had a great laugh about it, yeah. So I knew them in that sense more than I knew the Richardsons, like that. Well, just so happened another little gang was in there and they were looking for trouble and they sort of went for us. And naturally that was their mistake. We went for them then. I was lucky, I got injured and won the fight. He was unlucky, he lost. Terrific, that's when I was nicked for murder, innit? I was lucky, I was the only one nicked for murder, no one else. The jury retired. The hours went by, cell doors unlocked under the Old Bailey, jury back. Remember, it found guilty then when I'd have been hung. Jury back up them 12 steps into court number 1. Clerk of the court, Mr. Foreman, have you reached a decision on count 1 murder? Yes, sir. Is that the verdict of you one and all? Yes, sir. What is that verdict on count 1 murder? Guilty or not guilty? As the foreman went, "Not guilty," sort of winked, I winked back. We went to the same school together and played in the same football team. What a bit of luck, wasn't it? Yeah, what a bit of luck. Well, I got caught. Bit of everything. Hammer, knife. It's a great night. George Cornell, he grew up with the Kray twins. He knew them better than we would ever know them. He grew up with them. But he fell in love with a girl called Olive Hudd, who come from round here, married her and moved over here to South London, and they held that against him, as if he deserted them. He'd just been to visit, I think, little Jimmy Andrews, who'd been shot in the leg. Him and LB Woods. And as they were coming away, George see the blind beggar. Oh, he said, "Look, the old blind beggar. LB, let's go in there for a drink." And they went in, and someone told Ronnie, and that's why they hated him then, because he deserted them and moved over here. And they thought he'd moved over to the Richardsons, which wasn't true at all. And that's why he got shot dead. Simple as that, for no reason at all. I'm going to say South Londoners are much better than East Londoners, because after all, I was born in South London. Yeah, it's always been very good, and no different now, more or less, except now you've got more people from all over the world than you did then. But no harm in that, I enjoy it. I do understand, where some people might get annoyed because they come from other countries. I understand. With my dad from Canada and his mum a Red Indian, mum Irish, we were looked down on at school. Because we couldn't say we're going round Aunt Mary's or Uncle Harry's because they were all in other countries. So I do understand, yeah. That is perfectly true, yes. And anybody who didn't obey them rules, they were soon bashed up. We had a rows with one another, yeah. But ordinary nice guys who went to work and that, no. Definitely not. Unless somehow or other it's happened and there's nothing you could do about it. But otherwise you didn't go out your way for it, no. Not that type. Any rows you had was only amongst yourselves. If you hurt or killed one another, so what? So you must remember, in prison, I'd always be in trouble. And no matter what prison I was in, no matter how hard or whatever, I would still stick up for my rights and fight them. And if a fellow prisoner was badly beaten up by the officers, I would go to his aid or to help him and do whatever I could. I am very small, but nevertheless, there's no way I would give in. Just couldn't be, that wouldn't be me, I wouldn't be like that. Whatever prison I went in, I would always be in trouble, because you'd get the prison officers, when they see I was about as fat as that then, and it was always on bread and water and punishment diets and that. And when they see me, they thought the little cockney so-and-so, we put him in his place, and they went out their way to make life that more grimmer for me, and I wouldn't stand for that, I'd fight them back. So therefore that made me name over the years get bigger and bigger and that, yeah. That's how it was. Yeah, I could have a go at anything. I wasn't a very good fist fighter because I was too small. But I'd love to fight, yeah. I would never say no. I wasn't shy, I'd use anything. Hammer, knife, anything, brick, you name it, I'd use it. Of course I was then certified insane and sent to Broadmoor. You could have a laugh, and this guy at Broadmoor stood all day long like this. So I made inquiries, and they said, "Frank, he thinks it's an electric light bulb." So this day I'm bored to tears, I crept up behind him and said, "I've switched you off. Put me back on, switch me back." The Broadmoor officer said, "Fraser, put his plug back." So I went, "Put your plug back." He went, "Oh, thank you." Well, it was completely not like a trial should be, to be honest. Any good points you were coming up with, the judge was doing his best to knock them down. Not like the prosecuting counsel doing his best, the judge himself. It was ridiculous. You've got to remember, Charlie and Eddie had hardly ever been in, well, Eddie had hardly ever been in trouble in his life. And Charlie, I think, had only been to prison once, about 6 months. So really, they knew nothing about courts or anything. And they used to ask me how it was going. Though they could see it was going very bad, but they just asked me, well, what do you think, Frank? And I just had to tell them the truth. It looks very bad. Charlie and Eddie, I really felt sorry for them. Because they were two very hard-working fellas. You know, they run a straight business and everything. And all of a sudden they're nicked for a lot of it that was completely rubbish. Completely. They wouldn't have got away with it today. No way. And they got all that time when they were the most honest guys you could ever come across. They worked hard and everything. Looking back now, it's incredible. Went to prison for all them years. Well, I was already doing 5 years, wasn't I? When I was nicked for murder, I got found not guilty of murder, but guilty of some minor charge I got 5 years on. So I was doing 5 years when I was nicked with Charlie and Eddie. I got another 20 then. No, another 15. Then another 5 for leading the riot at Parkhurst prison. Well, that was the game I was in at the time, so it's all in the game. It's simple as that. Just one of them things you have to put up with. It's something in that world that could happen to you. When I led the riot at Parkhurst prison, and this prison officer said I cut one of his ears off and they couldn't find it. Well, of course they couldn't. Because I put it down the toilet, flushed the chain, and it's floating somewhere off the Isle of Wight. And for the rest of his career, he was known as Ear Harry. Anyway, I was doing 15 years there and found guilty. Found not guilty of some bad charges, but guilty. Judge, anything to say? I said, yes, my lord. I realise you'll have to increase my sentence, but could you please make it up into even numbers, as I hate odd numbers? So he had a smile on his face. I thought, well, I cracked it here. Might only give me make it 16 or 3 make it 18. I took in consideration your dislike of odd numbers. I will have to increase your sentence, but I will make it up into even numbers. I'll give you another 5 years consecutive. That'll make it 20 even numbers. I shouted out, you dirty so-and-so. He said, take him away. And I done a lot. Lost all my remission and everything, done every day. No, I won't, because I know I'll get a very good job with him down below. I'll be a good stoker. I don't regret it, no. No, because I'd seen a lot of good friends who was at school with me and that, who were dead straight, good hard-working guys. I see the damage it done to them. It knocked all the life out of them, sort of style. It was just like plodders along, going to work and that, no. No, definitely not. I know it sounds strange to someone who works hard and everything, but that's how I see it anyway. No regrets, no. Except one. Surely you know what that is. Getting caught.
We hope you enjoyed this insight into one of South London's most feared gangsters, Frankie Fraser. If you'd like to see more true crime videos on the world's most evil killers and gangsters, consider subscribing, liking the video and hitting that notification bell. Drop a comment down below if there are any gangsters or killers you want to see covered in our next video. Until next time.